Hey, what's up guys? Here we have that new hockey mask from Trick or Treat Studios that I showed you in the last video, and today I'm going to be turning it into the final chapter mask from Friday the 13th Part 4. And the first thing I'm going to do is take off these straps, and I mentioned in my last video that the one negative I saw with this mask was the straps. These are not snap-on straps like most hockey masks have. These are just attached to the hockey mask with these little metal rivets, as you can see there. So I'm just going to take this knife and kind of try to pop them out. So there we go, that just kind of flew off, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other two. So there we go, the straps are off, and now I'm just going to take one of these Scotch Brights and just rub down the whole mask with it, and this will lightly sand the mask and get it ready for paint. Alright, so now I'm going to be using my drill here, and I forget what this drill bit is called, but I'll post it on the screen if I can find it and if I remember to. But I'm going to be making the holes a little bit bigger, maybe a couple sizes bigger. They look a little bit too small. I'll go ahead and post what size they were originally and what size I'm making them. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that to all the holes on the mask, and I'm just going to speed this part up. Alright, so that's about good right there, and now I'm just going to make these tiny little holes where the snaps go, just a size or two bigger. I bought this little vacuum from Walmart for my desk, and I really like it a lot. I believe it's the Dirt Devil Go or something like that. Give the mask a little rub down one more time. I'm not going to record this part because I got to go outside, but this is the color I'm using for the spray paint for the base coat. And I'm just going to do a light coat and then wait for that to dry, and then do maybe another one or two coats, and that should be good. Alright guys, so here it is. It's kind of like a cream color, as you can see, compared to the white of the newspaper back there. It's kind of like a yellowish cream color, and I think this is a pretty close color to the actual mask in the movie. Alright, so I have this little anvil here that I got from the TikTok shop, and I bought it specifically to use for the Jason masks for when I'm setting the hardware on them. And here I have the little snaps. You can get these at Joann's Fabrics. That's where I got them. They might sell them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby as well. You can see here, this piece is like the button that goes on the strap. And usually these snaps come with some kind of form of this thing right here. I'll show you how to use it here in a second. But for example, this piece right here, it's got a little tube that sticks out of the hole right here, just like that. Let me go ahead and grab the other piece, which is this one, and we're going to put that over the little tube, just like that. And then the tool is going to go on top of the tube, just like this, and then we're going to strike it with a hammer a couple good times, and that'll flatten the tube, and that's how the two connect. Alright, I got my little concealed carry hammer right here, but size doesn't matter, so I'm going to go ahead and put the hockey mask on the anvil just like that. Put the two pieces together like I showed you earlier. We're going to take that tool, put it on the little tube, and then I'm going to go ahead and strike it with the hammer. You should be able to do this in like 2 or 3 good firm strikes. That should do it. I'm probably going to mess these up. I haven't done this in a while, and I'm also trying to record this at the same time. This one came out a little loose, as you just saw right there. So I'm going to strike it one more time. And it came out a lot better. Now it's a lot tighter on there. But you want to try and get this the first time. You don't want to do this several times because you can mess up the snaps. So just give it 2 or 3 good hard hits, and not super hard, but you know, firm hits, and that should do the job. But here we can see that I went ahead and put all the snaps on there already, using the method that I showed you guys. So I got all the snaps on there, and we're getting closer to the finish line here. And now we're going to go ahead and put the little snaps on the strap. So I'm just going to fold it over a little bit, just like that. And then I'm going to see where I want the snap, more or less. That looks good right there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little hole right about there. And then we're just going to go ahead and put that snap through. And that looks pretty good right there. You want some of the strap to be poking out at the top right there. Now we're going to take the other piece, which looks like this, and we're going to put it through that little tube, just like how we did with the other one. And we're going to be smashing that little tube flat, and that's what's going to connect these two pieces together as well. And so that connects them together, and I'm just going to do the same thing with the other two sides of the strap. And as you can see, now that we have the snap on the straps right there, we can go ahead and snap it onto the hockey mask. And so that's how that works. And so when you're done with all these little snap pieces, this is how it goes on, just like this. These straps still aren't movie accurate. They're supposed to be adjustable, so I might make another video and show you guys how to do the other part of the straps and make them adjustable. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start tracing out where I'm going to want that axe mark to go on the mask. This is the part 4 mask, and it's missing that chunk out of the forehead where he was struck with an axe. And this axe mark completely eats up the top vent hole, and then it eats up half of the vent hole under it. I'm going to go ahead and cut most of this out with these little metal cutters here, and then I'm going to use a little knife for the rest of it. I think most people use like some kind of Dremel piece to cut this out. The shape of the axe mark kind of comes down to a little point, so I'm just using this knife to carefully cut that out. Alright guys, so there we have it. It came out pretty good. I'm just going to use this tiny little Dremel that I got from AliExpress to kind of clean it up a little bit. This thing is really cool. I got it for free when they were having that 3 items for 99 cents deal on AliExpress. Alright, so next I'm going to be doing the chevrons, which are the little red marks on Jason's mask. And if you guys don't have the machine that cuts these out, you can still buy this red vinyl and just trace out the shapes and cut it yourself. I believe Michael's and Hobby Lobby sells like a little sheet of the vinyl for like $1. And that's what I did before I had the machine. And once you have these cut out, you just go ahead and put them on the mask. I always struggle with the placement, but at the end I kind of get it more or less. Now here I'm just kind of tracing out on the top chevron where I'm going to cut it because it is missing half of the chevron on the part 4 mask. And by the way, I'm using a picture of a mask that was done by Crash Creations. I'm kind of using that as reference. To me personally, I believe he does the best hockey masks. There's a lot of really good hockey mask makers out there. You know, you have Oz and you have Curse Camp Studios. Typically you should use pictures of the screen used mask or screen used whatever it is that you're making a replica of, but I feel like Crash Creations is really close to the screen used masks. He does really good work, and I'm not doing an exact copy of his mask here. I'm just kind of using some of it for reference, but I'm gonna kind of do my own thing. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of lightly tracing out where I want some of the stuff on the mask to go. For example, there's a lot of paint missing from the nose on this mask, so I'm just kind of tracing out the shape of it there. So once I start actually removing paint and stuff like that from the mask, I can have a guideline. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start scraping off some of that paint from the nose there, and then I'm going to scrape off some of the paint from the other half of the chevron up there that's missing. And I'm just using this kind of dull X-Acto knife that I had laying around. So there we go with the nose and the chevron. And I'm just going to use the X-Acto knife to make some little scuff marks on the vent holes and stuff like that. I'm not going to show every little second of me working on this mask because this video would be hours long, but I'll show you guys most of what I did. Here I have this little hair punching tool that I made, and it's basically just a needle, and I'm just going to use it to make these little scratches all over the mask. And I'm also going to use this little needle tool to carve in some signature marks that this part 4 mask has, like these scratches up here on the forehead. So after I took my time to add some scratches and stuff like that to the mask, I went ahead and did this black wash, which is just a little bit of black paint mixed with some water. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a paper towel, preferably one that doesn't have any patterns on it. I think it's the Viva paper towels, and I'm just going to go ahead and pat it down just like this. You can wipe it off, but I'm using this patting motion so that it leaves this kind of layer of dirt on the mask. And so here we can see that black wash kind of brought out some of those scratches that I made on the mask, and we're getting closer to getting this thing done, and it's looking really good so far. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit of this pavement color, and I'm just going to kind of use it to highlight some of the scratched areas like the nose. I'm just going to kind of lightly outline some of the scratches and stuff like that with it. Now I'm just going to take a bigger brush that has some of that pavement color on it, and I'm just going to kind of dab it on the mask like this, and then you can kind of dab it off with your finger if it's a little too much, and this is just going to create a little bit of weathering on the mask. Now, some guys will tell you not to use pencil on a mask, and I understand where they're coming from, but I like using this pencil to kind of weather up the part 4, and I'll just do all kinds of random stuff with it. Like I'll poke little holes on it just like this. Sometimes I'll, do little scratches with it and stuff like that. Just kind of get creative with it. I use the pencil and some other things to just kind of beat up the mask a little bit and make it look more weathered. Like I said, just get creative. I'm going to use whatever I have laying around to beat up the mask. Right here I'm using this knife, and I'm just going to use it to ding up the mask and make some more little scratches and stuff like that. And then when we do our other black wash, all this stuff that we're doing is going to come out. It is kind of hard to make the weathering and the scratches and stuff look natural. It can't look too uniform. It kind of just has to look random and like it happened naturally. So that does take a little bit of practice. I'm also going to start taking off some of the paint in some of the areas where it's supposed to be missing. Like for example, right under this little chevron right here. And now I'm just going to go ahead and sand that down a little bit so it blends in a little better. Let's go ahead and do another black wash and see what we got going on. And there we can see a lot of those details are starting to pop now. I don't think I'm completely done with weathering the mask, but I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of the blood. Alright, so I'm going to use some of this blood paint, and you can get this from fiercecitycreations.com. I'm actually going to be using two different types of blood paint here, but this is the first one I'm going to use because it's a little bit lighter. So I'm going to put a little bit on the mask just like that, and then I'm going to take this damp paper towel and I'm just going to kind of start dabbing it on the mask just like this. And I'm going to add a little bit more blood than usual because I like that look. You kind of want to make it lighter as it starts going down the bottom there so it kind of blends in. We'll let that dry and then do it again. Let's get a little bit on the vent holes here on the side. Now I'm going to use some of this EBA, the blood. It's a little bit darker, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some of this over the blood work that we did already. Alright guys, so here it is with the blood work, and it's just about done. I think it's looking really good. I'm just going to add some bloody water droplets under the eye right here. This is mostly styled after the shower scene in part 4, and he has these little like droplets of bloody water under the eye, as you can see here in this picture. And so here we have it almost finished. I did go ahead and spray this with some semi-gloss sealer. So I just have it here hanging, waiting to dry. But I think it came out really good. And here it is all finished up, guys. I'm really happy and really proud with the way this came out, and I hope you guys like it as well. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this, and thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.